Good day, everyone, especially to our WEBICON 2025 participants and committee. I am pleased and honored to be with you here today to present my study. But first, let me introduce to you myself. I am Rexel C. Lim, a graduate school student from Lourdes College, Cagayan de Oro, taking a Master of Arts in Early Childhood Education under the mentorship of Dr. Divina O. Mendoza. Going back to the title of the study, Connection of Screen Time Exposure and Child Rearing Practices on Kindergartner Social-Emotional Competence. I personally came up to this study because of its relevance for today's generation, our younger learners, and as a concerned parent to my son as well. Now let's go to the rationale of this study. This study utilized a descriptive correlational research design, which examines and documents the relationships between variables in their natural setting without introducing any manipulation. In the current digital era, young children are exposed to screens almost constantly, raising questions about the possible effects on their socio-emotional development. Simultaneously, this early socio-emotional competency is significantly shaped by parenting techniques. These early devices primarily focuses on entertainment, lay the groundwork for the profound integration of technology into children's daily activities, as according to Takeuchi and Stevens 2019. This also portrays, we also have here the schematic presentation showing the interplay of the variables. We have our independent variable, the screen time exposure with the domains frequency and duration. We also have the child rearing practices, and also our dependent variable, the kinder social emotional competence with the domains motivation, empathy, and social skills. For our methods, this sample consisted of 80 parents of kindergartners enrolled in a public school in Valencia City, Bukidnon, during the school year 2023 to 2024. Using Yamani's formula with a 95% confidence level, the researcher calculated a sample size from a total population of 153 kindergarten students. So we have here, for our first research question, what is the extent of screen time exposure among kindergartners? We have here the results according to the table. As shown in the table 1, this displayed the frequency, percentage, and mean distribution of kindergartner screen time exposure as evidenced by the overall mean of 3.51. The data demonstrates that their screen time was evaluated to a generally high degree, given that the majority of participants, which was a 53.75 response, indicated a high extent of screen time exposure. It is implied that kindergartners spend a significant amount of their time in front of screens. And for our research question number 2, as seen on its table, what is the quality of parents' child rearing practices? We have here the display of the data, the frequency, and the percentage, and also the mean distribution of parents' assessments on the quality of child rearing practices that their kindergartners experience. The overall mean of 3.96 indicates that the child rearing practices were deemed to be of good quality, according to the data. This implies that the methods are generally thought to be very good. And for our research question number 3, what is the extent of socio-emotional competence of kindergartners as assessed by their parents, considering motivation, empathy, and social skills? This table shows that the kindergartner socio-emotional competence considering the motivation, empathy, and social skills. It can be gleaned that the kindergartners shows high socio-emotional competence as indicated by an overall mean of 3.89. This data implies that the kindergartners have pleasant relationships with the people around them. Notably, it is a skill that garnered the highest mean through all the domains that were interpreted as high. We also have here the data of the empathy and the social skills, which also is interpreted as high. And for our question number 4, do the kindergartner screen time exposure and their parents' child rearing practices significantly influence their social emotional competence? Table number 4 displays the correlation result, which used the Kendall-Stowe analysis. If there is a significant connection of kindergartner screen time exposure and their parents' child rearing practices on their social emotional competence. The finding reveals that the variables are significant with the R value of 0.173 and a p-value of 0.040, indicating that the combination of screen time exposure and child rearing practices significantly correlates with socio-emotional competence. Consequently, the null hypothesis is rejected, indicating that the kindergartner screen time exposure and their parents' child rearing practices significantly correlates with kindergartner socio-emotional competence. Moreover, to the summary and findings, this study confirms Bronfenbrenner's bioecological model that child development is fundamentally shaped by complex interactions within their immediate environment, particularly highlighting how the quality of environment and parental guidance serves as a primary determinant in children's social-emotional growth. The significant correlation between child rearing practices and socio-emotional competence validates the theoretic emphasis on the crucial role of proximal process that is sustained. Reciprocal interactions between children and their caregivers in fostering healthy development truly matters. From the study findings, kindergartners have high level of socio-emotional competence, which is strongly influenced by the quality of how the parents reared them or treat them. Screen time contributes, but not as much as good parenting does when it comes to developing the socio-emotional competence. We have here our recommendations. Several recommendations are given in the light of these findings. For the parents, they may intensify high-quality child rearing techniques that highlights motivation, empathy, and the development of social skills. Create vast opportunities for social connections in order to prevent frequent screen time and supervise and control their children's screen time and encourage activities that foster total development away from screens. And for our teachers, they could provide more meaningful activities to improve the kindergarten socio-emotional abilities by integrating real-life skills, improving activities such as role-playing and other interactive and fun-filled strategies, and establish a classroom climate that fosters creativity, collaboration, sharing, and respect, as these are facilitative of developing a friendly learning environment or community. And last, for our future researchers, they may consider conducting longitudinal studies on how screen time and parenting styles affect socio-emotional competence, conduct long-term research to explore the sustained effects of screen time and child rearing practices on socio-emotional competence across different demographics and cultural settings. Utilize both qualitative and quantitative methods to directly assess children's emotional regulation and interpersonal behaviors. And for the last, I would like to leave you with this saying or quotation. The best parenting in this generation is not about control, but about connection, guiding children with love, understanding, and wisdom, while preparing them for a world that changes faster than ever. I would like to appreciate your time and effort for being here with me today. These are my references for your guidance. Thank you for your time. God bless us all.